Hey there everyone, Michael Ajaya here, hope you're all doing well. I wanted to discuss with you all today how I purchased 14 properties in 12 months. And I want to show you all the difference between successful investors who have double-digit portfolios and what they do differently to most Australians who end up purchasing only one property. So most Australians only ever purchase, or 72% of Australians, 72% of Australian investors fail to progress their property portfolio beyond one property. Now the reason for this is they're purchasing the wrong property, and it could be in the right area, but it might be at the wrong time. There's a lot of variable factors there. One of the main ones, which you've probably, if you've watched some other videos, you'll see that I've touched on is new property. And today I'm going to show you why I don't buy new property. We purchase existing, and I'm going to show you the exact strategy and process. So that you understand exactly what we do at ML Property Group. And if you're keen, you can go out and use this strategy and do it yourself. So the process, purchase property with equity or potential equity. So we try and purchase something that's already below market value, so that you already have inbuilt equity to utilize to purchase your next property, towards purchasing your next property, and or potential to create that equity by renovation, carpet, paint, etc., etc. Purchasing property with excellent growth potential. So purchasing a property, for example, today in September 2019 in an investment property in Sydney, probably not that great. Growth potential is not that great. But purchasing a cheaper property in a more affordable market that's set to boom would probably be your best bet. Maximizing value if needed. So if you're purchasing the property with scope to renovate, and you can, definitely worthwhile doing, but obviously don't overcapitalize. Revalue that property and extract the equity. So that's pretty much the process. It's very, very simple. As long as you stick with it and you execute each of those well, you can repeat that and purchase your next property. Okay, so in my growth period, when I had a really, really good 12 months, and the reason I had a really good 12 months between December 2012 and 2013 is because I had already, by that time in my investing career, over 7 years, had purchased a number of, probably around 10 properties in the past. Bought, renovated, bought and sold, whatever. Might not be 10, might be 8. I have to check that stat actually. But it gave me a good foundation. It gave me a good understanding of what real estate was about. Went to seminars, learned from people, read. I've got Your Investment Property magazines here that are stacked up high. It's amazing. So a lot of reading, a lot of learning, and that all shaped me into the investor I was at that point in time to go ahead and buy 14 properties. I didn't just wake up, read some material and be able to execute 14 properties. There was 7 years of learning and practice ahead of that. So yeah. Cool. Average yield for all those properties, 7.9%, which is fairly good rental yield. During those 12 months, I added $3.8 million in property to my portfolio. Okay, what you need to do before you can build a multi-million-dollar portfolio is obviously planning. You need to plan, and it's incredibly important to set up a team. So having a good accountant who understands property investment and understands, or probably more so, if you can get one that's achieved what you want to achieve, that's very, very important with anything, having people around you that can guide you along your journey. Same goes for mortgage broker. Solicitor or conveyancer is very important as well, having a good one that understands property, or that does a lot of property. If they do some other type of law, if they do criminal law, you don't really want them doing conveyancing. You want someone specialist, or someone who specializes in that. Pay down your bad debt. So, having your car loans, personal loans, credit cards, all that sort of stuff is bad debt. And you want to minimize that so that you have better servicing to purchase more property. Research the market, incredibly important. Knowing where to invest at what time to invest is incredibly important. You don't, even the experts sometimes get it wrong. But knowing what not to do is probably way more important than actually predicting the future. No one can predict the future. If we could predict the future, I'd just be playing Powerball and life would be easy. Yeah, it's very, very important to know what markets not to be in. Familiarizing yourself with the target area. I remember back before I was a buyer's agent, I would know certain parts. I'm from southwestern Sydney, so all those parts, Liverpool to Campbelltown, I would know them very, very well, and I would know straight away what the comparables are off the top of my head. I'd even know the streets, I'd know what they're worth. So straight away, if something came up on the market, I would know, which I'm about to show you in the next slide. Building relationships with agents. This one is very, very important, and this helped me a lot when building my property portfolio. Having relationships with agents so that they know you're a serious buyer and they can just call you, because I don't want to badmouth agents. There's a lot of really, really good agents out there, but there is so many bad ones, and sometimes they're really good for helping you build your property portfolio because they simply, try and get the deal done as soon as possible. They just want it sold so they can get the com, and you need to pick these agents out and purchase off them, because more often than not, you'll tend to get some really good bargains from them. Heckenberg was the first property I purchased during that run of 14 properties in 12 months that I had, that good run. Now that property was purchased for $260,000. Market comparables in the area anywhere from 310 to 350, and for the better condition property. So I know that this thing was worth 300, 310 off the bat anyway. So purchasing it at 260, I know that there's a little bit of equity in it. Worst case, if it needs a renovation, it's going to cost me 25, max 30. And yes, I called the agent up. I said, listen, take the contract off the table, hold it. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I'll pay the 0.25% deposit, and then we'll go look at it. So when I had a look at it, obviously needed the renter, had wallpaper, old kitchen, all original, still the original owner from, I think it was from the 60s. He paid $8,000 for it. So yeah, everything's in that condition, and needed the reno. So we did the reno, 26,000 spent, revaled for 315,000. Now this valuation came back low. We tried to contest it. The property was clearly worth around the $340,000 mark, but wasn't to be. So there's a bit of equity left in the property still. We extracted what we spent and a little bit more out of it, and yeah, rented for $440 per week with a 7.2% yield. That's paying for itself, and that's one down. And we moved on. Actually, no, we've got photos as well. So this is before. This is what it looked like before. We took the tree down, painted the windowsills of the house, painted underneath grey, gurneyed the whole weatherboard so it didn't need painting. Did some gardening and that. So this is before. This is the kitchen before. As you can see, fairly old. Now this is the redone kitchen. So these kitchens I was getting very, very cheaply. We had a really good contact in Sydney. So this sort of a kitchen was setting me back. Just the kitchen. So it's polyurethane, stainless steel handles, Bloom soft close doors and drawers, and imitation Caesarstone bench tops. They're Laminex, I think. And we were getting this made for just under $3,000, so about $2,700 to $3,000, plus obviously stainless steel appliances, sink mixer 150, etc. So something like that didn't set us back too much. Bathroom, original, new. Bathrooms we got at a reasonable price as well. Don't like doing bathrooms. Worst renovation you could do. So much time and money and effort, but yeah. This is the wallpaper, as you'd expect from a house of that age. So there was a lot of work there, a lot of scraping, and that's the final product. So I got it painted. I actually got this painted fairly cheaply, and then floors. I think we did the full floors, which were resanded, and 3 coats of lacquer for $1,200. So that was good. Put some blinds in. The blind company was, I think they were about $800 for a full house, to do all the blinds. Cool. So Macquarie Fields was purchased just after Heckenberg, and we purchased that for $230,000. And that property needed some renovations, minor renovations. Look, you could have gone. Okay. This is a perfect example of why you actually don't need to go through and do a kitchen and bathroom sometimes. And there's a way, if you just purchase well and you do the minimal amount necessary to brighten it up and to make it livable and so on, you can get enough equity out of it as is. So we spent only $6,000 on this property. Didn't do the kitchen, didn't do the bathroom. I think in the kitchen we only put a sink. In the bathroom we only put a vanity. We resealed the shower because it was leaking. Put a new mirror in, and then painted the whole property, and obviously replaced the carpets as well, the flooring, and put a hard wearing dark carpet in there as it was going to be rented out. So total 6K spend, revalued for $290,000. So good equity uplift there with only a 6K spend. So you don't need to fully do a reno, do a full reno to get that equity out if you've purchased well. Carpet and paint are some of the best bang for buck you can do, and incredibly important. So the rent at the time, so we rented out for $380 per week, which was an 8.4% yield. Great result there. So as you can see here in the kitchen, we didn't do anything. We just pretty much left it and just changed the kitchen sink from one of those white sinks, dirty white sinks, to a new stainless steel one. New vanity and got a mental blank cistern, new cistern, and got the around the bathroom, so you can probably see the white grouting. So thank you. None of these blanks here. Don't start it again. Just keep going.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, and yeah, so that was resealed, new mirror, and then we obviously painted all that. There's a bit of mold on the roof which we took off, and that was it. So not a lot to spend. And then here, as you can see, we've painted everything. And we replaced the blinds, painted everything, and put some hard wearing carpet in and duck carpet, and that was it. So 6K spend, valued at $290,000, purchase price $230. So yeah, awesome result. All right, so just after that purchase in Macquarie Fields, where we did that 6K renovation and revalued for $290,000, I went in and purchased another one straight after. And we used the equity in the Heckenberg property to go ahead and purchase this. And we picked this up for $242,000, well below market comparables. This required no renovation and was revalued for $280,000. Renting for $350,000, which was under market value. It was probably $360,000, $370,000 for rent. We did the rent back for them at the time. They stayed in the property. 7.52% yield, which is a great result. Now with this property, yeah, that's a photo of the property there. So it's a 3-bedroom townhouse in Macquarie Fields. This particular property is a good example of just purchasing well. Just purchasing well, not doing anything, revaluing and taking your 40K equity out and using that to purchase your next property. The case study before that was a good example of how you don't need to do a kitchen and bathroom, how you can just do a minimal amount of things to the property, and if purchased well, you can extract the equity. And then the Heckenberg one showed you exactly, with a full renovation, how that all works. So 3 different case studies there, and these are the 3 purchases that kick-started my 14 properties in 12 months, and this is the strategy that I followed and just repeated. So yeah, I hope that gives you a great idea. Lessons learned and things that can go wrong. So don't hesitate. So get in the market. A lot of people, including myself, I have, there's so many good opportunities I missed because, I wasn't educated enough, or I was hesitant, or I over-negotiated, or for whatever reason it may be at the time, I've missed out on some great opportunities because I hesitated. So get in the market, let the market do its thing. So for your renovations, there's a lot of unreliable tradespeople out there. Get a good team together. So when we purchase properties for clients, we have our own team that goes out there, takes care of the kitchen, the paint, whatever is necessary, general handyman stuff, whatever it may be. So make sure you get a good team around you. That'll make your job so much easier. Experienced and competent professionals. So it's incredibly important to have really good people around you. This is what will make your life easier. It's the same in with all these billionaires and that out there. These people don't run these corporations on their own. They have a team of people helping them every step of the way, and your property investment journey should be no different. Okay, so hints and tips when building your property portfolio. So purchasing under value with equity. I can't stress this enough. And if you have a look at the previous case studies I've shown you, you will notice that purchasing under value and being able to add equity is pretty much in every single one of them. I can't stress it highly enough. 6 to 7% yield is generally what we look for. So if you can purchase something around there, that's going to help your cash flow a great deal. Okay, so minimize risk. So whilst I have purchased in regional areas, we are purchasing mostly in metropolitan areas. There really isn't a need for us to purchase in regional areas as we are achieving the yields as mentioned previously. So don't be afraid of debt, only bad debt. So purchasing cars, holidays, all those sorts of things on personal loans, credit cards, etc. are not a good thing, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware. You should be looking to purchase property with your debt. If you're going to go into debt for anything, go into debt for property, because that's what appreciates. Okay, always negotiate or hire. Always negotiate well or hire a professional negotiator. So real estate agents are some of the best negotiators in the world. They negotiate on a daily basis, and as a buyer's agent, we negotiate against them. So they negotiate against the general public, we negotiate against them. I like to think I'm a better negotiator than pretty much all of them. I'm sure there's a few that will disagree with that, but yeah, I think it's incredibly important to have a really good negotiator on your side, someone who understands the process, so you avoid making mistakes. Okay, so Emerald Property Group. So we're a buyer's agency helping people purchase, quality property and building property portfolios. So please get in touch. emeraldpropertygroup.com.au, mlpg.com.au, facebook.com/Emerald Property Group, and Instagram michaellajaya.emeraldproperty. So please get in touch and look forward to chatting to you soon. Take care.